I think we'll call this one Greenhouse Build Part 2. I've got my top and bottom plates cut and laid out where they're gonna go. And I've started marking them up every 2 foot on center for the wall studs. You can go 16 on center, 24 on center, whatever your county lets you. This build isn't inspected. This is a special outbuilding permit. So nobody's gonna inspect it, and I'm comfortable going 24-inch on center for a greenhouse. So when you're marking out your wall studs, you want to line up your top and bottom plates where they're going to go, butt them up next to each other, and run your tape measure from one end to the other. I only say this because I've made this mistake in the past where I've measured out wall studs on one section, and then the next section, and then the next section, and you go to put siding up on the outside, the 4x8 sheets, or anything that's pre-cut 4x8 from a, say, a big box store like Home Depot or Lowe's. Inevitably, those wall studs, 2 or 3 walls down, are going to be off by an inch, ½ inch, 2 inches, who knows. So now I take my 100-foot tape and I lay it down on the top of those top and bottom plates, and I mark every 2 foot with an X. This is my 2 foot mark, and this is the X where the stud's gonna go. The stud's gonna sit right here. You mark the X so you know what side of the line you're putting your stud on. So the top and bottom plates are lined out. They're marked up. I've got to cut, I think, 40 wall studs between these 2 walls, the 2 side walls. And I'm looking at it. Originally, I was just gonna make a box, 16 by 32. The side walls, the end walls, they're all going to be pretty sturdy. They're going to have reinforcements. And I know if you're looking at it, you're looking at this 8-foot gap between the pads and how much air gap there is there. There's going to be gravel down there, but there's also going to be a board going diagonally from top corner to the center and the bottom on the inside of the wall on each one of these. And it's going to go, it's going to be like a V from one top corner to the bottom center, and the other top corner to the bottom center. And that's going to support that and hold it up. It doesn't sound like much, but it actually is. Any diagonal support you put in creates a lot of rigidity. But I am thinking about, because this is going to be half wood and metal roofing on the north side, the south side here is going to be the clear roofing and the clear walls. With the clear roofing and the clear walls, it doesn't have a lot of wind shear force or wind shear rigidity to it. So I'm thinking about this centerpiece on the south side, the center pads here, maybe making a little stem wall and putting some diagonal supports in that so that it adds a little more shear resistance for that wall going this way. I'm not too worried about going back and forth because I'll have some supports, diagonal supports on this side to hold those up. But the wind shear factor has got me a little concerned over the length of this building. Maybe if it's not raining, I'll cut a bunch of these wall studs, get some of these walls made, just keep them laid down on the ground until I have a way to support them. It's supposed to rain for about the next week. So we'll see how much we can get done in the next week on this greenhouse, get it kind of propped up and going. So got a few of the walls up, 2 side walls and 1 end wall. Got them kind of staked in place with these little supports coming off, make sure they don't fall over, make sure the wind doesn't blow them over. It's getting a little late in the day, so I don't know how much more I'm gonna get done. I've got these 4x4s that I've got to anchor in right where my cat's sitting there. I'm gonna use that bracket with that lag bolt and drill it into the concrete. And then I'll drill a hole in the bottom of the 4x4 to accommodate the screw that's sticking up out of the concrete so it's not sitting on top of the screw. And then that'll go in between those 2 poles and hold up my ridge beam. I'll have a 4x4 in each one of the center pads to hold up a ridge beam that will hold the roof up. There's no lag bolts in the sides either, the side walls yet. I'm waiting for the concrete to cure up a little more. But I'll just drill a hole straight down through the bottom plate, into the concrete and put a 5-inch lag bolt down in there to hold it down. And then I'll put some diagonal supports in, going from the top corners above the concrete to the center to hold that centerpiece up so it doesn't sag over time. This wall over here is where the door is going to be to come into the greenhouse. I plan on putting a door on each end, a little like a barn door kind of thing on each end that would slide back and forth. But I think I'm going to stick to the barn door on one end and a couple windows up high on this end to let ventilation kind of roll through during the summer when it gets really hot. I've got to wait a while before I can put the rest of these center beams in. These center 3 forms for the concrete were just poured a couple days ago, and it's not super hot out, so I'm going to let them sit for a couple more days before I drill into them and put that bracket to hold the 4x4 up. Might be a couple days before I can get even started on the roof, but I'll get the walls finished up, 4x4 in the middle down there, put that in, and I'll get this wall, this end wall with the door. I'll probably start on that tomorrow, get that going. Tilting walls up is the easy part. I've still got to mill out the siding to cover the back, the north side, and half of the side walls are going to be covered in wood siding. And the back part of the roof will be metal roof. The south facing wall will be clear, it'll be a clear sheathing, and half of these side walls will be clear. And then the half the roof that faces south will be clear. That way in the summertime, when the sun's more straight over the top, we have half the greenhouse is shaded and half is full-time sun, so you can plant plants accordingly to how much sun they like to have. But I've still got to mill out all the siding for this thing. I don't have any siding milled out. I just had the 2x4s, the 2x6, and the 4x4s milled out just to get the structure kind of going. We've got a ways to go, but it's coming along pretty quick right now. Till next time, go make something.